What up, guys? So it's been a minute since I've done a gun collection show and tell, and I'm sitting here in front of my safe in really shitty lighting conditions, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna take you through my gun collection. I think the end of 2022 is the last time I did it, and we've had a lot of new additions and some attrition, so it'll be interesting to go through. And I do have reviews on a lot of the guns that I'm about to show you. Not all of them, I'd say more than half of them, but I've got YouTube shorts on I think all of them. So you know, I will put the links to the actual reviews and descriptions in the description, so you can check those out. But, you know, if you're interested in any of these guns, just Google the gun and Hipster Tactical and you'll find my shorts. So, let's start with the Berettas. And I've got these loosely grouped by brand, loosely. I need to get some, like, sleeves and spacers to get these a little better organized. But we'll start with the Berettas. We've got the venerable 92F from 1989. This was the first gun I ever reviewed on Hipster Tactical, and I love this gun. It's a classic. Beretta 92, in my opinion, is still one of the best shooting guns you can buy, and this one is no exception. And the name of the review is More Than an Icon, and that's how I feel about the Beretta 92. It is so much more than just a piece of pop culture. It shoots amazingly well. If you don't have a Beretta 92 of any variety in your collection, you definitely need one. Next, we've got the Cougar, and the Cougar was Beretta's first rotating barrel pistol that came out in the 90s, and it's kind of a precursor to the PX4. For all intents and purposes, this is a metal frame PX4. So if you've ever wondered, like, it'd be cool to get a metal frame PX4, well, that's the thing. It's called a Cougar, and it exists, and I really like the Cougar. I don't have a full review on this one yet, but I've got a few shorts on it. It shoots great. It shoots a lot like a PX4. That rotating barrel just makes the recoil impulse very communicative, very informative, and very soft and smooth. It's just a great shooter. So is the PX4. The Cougar, with the extra weight in the frame, just feels a little bit more stable and planted. So it's a really nice shooting gun. Moving on, we'll talk about the PX4 next. This is the PX4 Compact. This is the Compact Carry Edition. I got this in 2017, so I've had it a long time. Shot it a lot. Shoots really well. Very reliable. Very accurate. And this is, of all the guns I've reviewed since 2022, this is the most popular. This has tons of views. People just seem to be big fans of the PX4, and I can see why. It's one of my favorite shooters. It is one of the best shooting guns out there, and if you haven't tried a PX4, they do look a little strange, but they shoot amazingly well. Next, we've got the Cheetah. And Cheetah, the Beretta Cheetahs are 380s. This is the 85, which is the single stack. And they just brought out the Cheetahs again, but I don't think they brought out the 85. So all the Cheetahs that are currently being offered are the double stack. Again, the 85 is the single stack. I really like the Cheetah. I have smaller hands, and the ergonomics just are really nice for a small hand. And you know, it's a straight blowback 380, so it's got a fixed barrel. And I tend to think the fixed barrel 380s of the olden days, they still shoot really well, and that fixed barrel gives you inherent accuracy, and this gun is really accurate. It shoots really well, and it's a good size for carry. It's not too big, not too small, and it's been reliable. So the Cheetah series is a good option if you're looking for something smaller. So I think that does it for the Berettas. We will move on to the Walthers, and start with the P5. True classic, one of my favorites. I have a review on this one. And it uses the locking block system, which the Beretta 92 also uses. And though Beretta did kind of co-opt the locking system from Walther, so it has some similarities, I think, to the Beretta 92 and how it feels and how it shoots. So it shoots really, really well. It's just a you know, obviously more compact and has a bit more of an edge to it, a precise feeling edge, and it shoots really, really well. And I love the P5, and they're pretty expensive right now. I got lucky and found this one on Arms List for a reasonably good deal. So if you can find one for under $1,000, pick one up. They're really nice pistols. Moving on to the PPSs, and yes, I've got two, because I like these guns so much, and they are so cheap that I bought two, and I don't really have a reason to own two, but I've got the FDE and the black one, and the black one was basically brand new when I got it. These are the first gen PPSs, which I love the look and the styling of. They shoot great too. They've got very Glock-like triggers, which I'm not a huge fan of Glock-like triggers, but you know, the ergonomics and just the feel and the inherent mechanics of these guns make them very nice shooters. They carry well, they're very thin, they're single stacks, and I know single stacks have kind of fallen out of favor to guns like the P365 and the Hellcat, but you know, you're giving up a few rounds, but these guns shoot really, really well, and they're totally worth the money if you don't mind carrying a single stack. So moving on, we've got the P99, and the P99 is one of my favorites. I do have a full review on it. It's called Defying the Dingus, because this gun is dingusless, because the P99 is a double action, single action pistol. I think it's the only striker fired pistol that is double action, single action. And there are P99 clones from Canik, and Magnum Research made a version of this gun, Smith & Wesson made a version of this gun, but there are versions of the P99, and this is the only platform to offer a double action, single action trigger in a striker fired pistol. This was the precursor to the PPQs and the PDPs. They're all kind of versions of the same gun, and I love those guns as well, but I'm telling you, the single action trigger on the P99 is something you've got to experience if you haven't. I feel it's better than what you get on the PPQs and PDPs. It's really a nice shooter. And speaking of PPQs and PDPs, I have the Q4 SF, and this is basically an all steel PPQ. And the steel frame is just, I'm not sure there's much of a practical reason for it, but it feels freaking great. The heft and the weight just makes it so stable, and such a stable planted shooting platform, and it's really nice to shoot. Plus you get these you get grip panels, so you can put really nice G10 grips on it. These are from Lock, and it just locks your hand in there, and you can just pound through rounds all day with this thing. The PPQ trigger is really good. It's a single action striker fired trigger, so it's very shootable, but still I prefer the single action on the P99 by a small margin. Last but not least of the Walthers, we've got the P88 Compact, and love the P88 Compact. I got lucky to find this one for the price I found it at, and basically this was the ultimate double action, single action Wonder 9 from the 80s and 90s. It is kind of the ultimate expression of that genre, that style of guns, and it's just exquisitely made. It's very accurate, it's very refined, shoots very well. I find it to be, you know, extremely accurate. It's very tightly fit. I think it's, you know, basically a target gun in terms of its build quality, and the fit and finish is superb, and it's been very reliable. It's been a good solid pistol. So if you can find a P88, either a full size or a compact, again this is the compact, they're really good additions, and I do have a full review on this. It's called The Most Wonderful Wonder 9. And then I think that does it for the Walthers. Next we've got the Sigs, and I have more Sigs than any other brand of gun. So these are my P239s, and I'm a big P239 fan. These are my 9mm P239s, and they're, you know, the P239 fills an interesting niche. It's compact, but it's not super small like a lot of the, you know, the guns you have today. So it can't compete with like a P365 and stuff like that. And, you know, people give it a hard time because it only holds 8 rounds, but I'm telling you, the guns shoot so well, and they shoot like service pistols. They feel like service pistols because they really are service pistols from, you know, a standpoint of build quality and just the stability and just the way they feel in the hand. And you know, you give up some rounds, but as good as they feel and as good as they shoot and as reliable as they are, I think they make a good case for themselves, and they're still compact enough to carry just about anywhere. So really love the P239s in 9mm. And then I have a P239 in 357 Sig. And to me, it feels a little bit of a different role. The slide on the 40 cal and 357 P239s is bigger and beefier and heavier, so it has a different feel, but it's still a fairly compact footprint overall, and it's just cool to get that kind of power in this compact footprint, and it's a blast to shoot, especially when you shoot the hot self-defense stuff. I mean, big fireballs coming out of this thing, and like I said, it feels a little bit of a different role than the 9mm P239s. Next, we've got the P245, and this is one of the more obscure of the classic double action SIGs, and it's one of my favorites. And I do have a full review on it called "Don't Call It a P220," because the design of the P245 is in a lot of ways distinct from the P220, and it shoots really well. It has a really good feel, and I have owned a P220, and I honestly kind of like the way the P245 shoots a little better. It's a nice compact carry gun as well, but just regardless of size, it's a really nice shooting 45. So love the P245. Next, we've got the venerable P226. I love the P226. I think if I had to pick one of the classic XM9 service pistols, I'd probably go with the Beretta 92, but the P226 is a close second. It's a really nice shooting gun, and it's very accurate. It has the trigger has a very precise feel, and I don't think there's anyone who dislikes a P226. They're really nice guns, and I do have a full review on this one called Tactical Gourmet, because it just kind of exemplifies good taste in handguns. This is a 1988 model, one of the old West German ones with the folded stamped slide, so kind of a classic, and very happy to own this one. Next, we've got the P225. This is Sig's single stack that was developed back in the 70s, and this is a 9mm, and it only came in 9mm, but this one was in service with German police forces. The P225s that were in service with German police were designated the P6, and this one was in service with the BKA, which is the Bundeskriminalamt, which is like the German federal police, so like the German FBI, so that's pretty cool. And this one had been fired very little when I got it. It's a really nice gun, and it's just a good, handy overall size, and I need to get a full review done on this one at some point. It's in the plans for this year, but I love the classic P225. Or P6, same gun. If you don't have one of these, it's really a cool gun to own. And we've got the P229. And I have a full review on this one. It's called Worth the Girth, because it is a girthy pistol, and the classic P229s has slightly wider slides than the other Sig, so it's a hefty pistol, and but it's interesting. This gun has kind of become a go-to carry gun for me, and it just feels really good to shoot. It's just an all-around really good performer, and I shoot it really well, and especially with these Contour Classic G10 grips from Hogue. They're a little different than Hogue's normal G10 grips. They have more curvature, and they just fit my hands perfectly. I mean, I can pull this double action trigger perfectly, and I shoot this gun really well. And as chunky as it is, it carries okay inside the waistband, appendix, and it's just a good all-around gun. And this is one of the older ones without the accessory rails, and it's a 9mm, not 40. Most of these you see are in 40, so I saw this at a gun shop and picked it up, and it's been a really excellent pistol. And last of the SIGs, last but not least, is the classic P210. Well, I guess this one isn't classic. This is one of the newer American-made ones that came out in 2017. It's not one of the original Swiss ones, but I'm just finishing up the review on this one, and I am incredibly impressed with this pistol. It's so accurate. It's been very reliable. I've put almost 1,000 rounds through it, and it has never malfunctioned. With any ammo I've put through it, it feels great. And I don't know if there's any other pistol I've shot that is so exacting in its ability to let you place shots. And the title of the review is going to be called Shot Caller, because that's what this gun is. So stay tuned for that. It should be coming out on hipstertactical.com in, I don't know, a week or two. So I think that does it for the SIGs. My lone H&K, the P9S. I really love the P9S. It's one of my more unusual guns, and basically this is a mini MP5 or G3 rifle, kind of with the roller delayed system shrunk down into a pistol. And I do have a full review on this called 9mm Nirvana, because that's kind of what it feels like to shoot this gun. It is just uniquely smooth, and it just filters out the unpleasant aspects of recoil, and you're just left with this direct, pure experience. And it's such a nice shooting gun. It's very accurate, and this is an old beat up police trade-in, but it's been super reliable. So, you know, if you ever get a chance to pick up a P9S, make sure you replace the recoil buffer. I've got some stuff about that in my review, but other than that, they're really good, solid pistols. And then we've got the Glock 17. I guess I'm risking giving up my hipster card owning a Glock, but you know, I talk about Glocks a lot, and certainly I've shot my fair share of Glocks over the years, but I'd never actually owned one until, you know, fairly recently. But Aim Surplus had a good deal on these Gen 2 G17s, and I figured, what the hell, I'd pick one up. I'd actually never shot a 17. I'd shot plenty of 19s, and it has a pretty good feel. I don't love Glock triggers, I don't love Glock ergonomics, but it shoots pretty well. And you know, it's been reliable, and I think the Gen 2s are kind of cool because they are classic, and I think this one was a Washington DC police trade-in, so it's kind of a cool Glock to own, and I like it. I'm surprised that I like it. And then we've got the East German Makarov, and I love the Makarov. I especially love this East German Makarov. It is such a nice pistol. It's you know, really well made, and the fit and finish on the East German Makarovs is just known to be, I think, a little bit better than what you find on the Bulgarian Max and the Russian Max. And this one, like the bluing, I mean, this pistol's from 1962, so more than 60 years old, and you can still see your reflection in the bluing, and the fit and finish of the parts is just exquisite, and it just feels so nice, and it shoots really, really well. It's very accurate, very reliable. It's a really good gun, and I have carried this on occasion because it's, you know, it's small, it's compact, it's easy to carry, it's double action, single action, it shoots really well, very reliable. Why wouldn't I carry it? So, you know, I love the Makarov. And then, so we will go to the Browning derived guns. So we're talking like 1911s and Browning high power derivatives. So we'll start with the 1911. This is my Springfield Mil-Spec. I have a review on this, and I have a review on the Makarov as well. Check that out. But this is the, like I said, the Springfield Mil-Spec. Just did a review on this, and I love this gun. Of all the 1911s I've owned, this has been my favorite. It shoots really, really well. It's really accurate. The trigger's really nice. Everything about the gun feels like quality, and it's been very reliable, and it's just kind of the quintessential example of the 1911 and the 1911's merits as a pistol. It just shoots really well, and it makes shooting well easy. And that's why we love the 1911. And then we've got, this is actually my newest acquisition. This is my Colt Double Eagle, and this is basically 1911 on top with a frame that's been redesigned to house a double action, single action mechanism. And it, in some ways, feels like a 1911. Shoots, in terms of its trigger and everything like that, it feels like a double action, single action gun. The trigger doesn't feel like a 1911 trigger, and I think that's why some people just, you know, really turn their nose up at this gun. It's like, what did you do to my 1911? You took away the thing that makes the 1911 great. So I get that, but for, you know, it's a really nice shooting pistol overall. It's really well made. It's it feels better made than some of the other Colt 1911s I've had, and you know, I've had it to the range once or twice now, and it shoots good. It's accurate. I was getting some good groups from it. I did put some skateboard tape on it, and these grips don't offer much purchase, but that really helped. It centered my groups up, and it's a nice shooter. So looking forward to getting more rounds through this. Next, we've got the classic Browning High Power, and this is one I do have a full review on this called Deja Vu, because when you get a high power in your hand, it just feels familiar instantly. It's like, it feels like a gun's supposed to feel, and from an ergonomic standpoint, I can't think of a gun that feels better than the classic Browning High Power. It's just great, and shoots great, it points great, it handles great, everything about it is just natural and intuitive. The trigger isn't anything to write home about. It's got a single action only trigger, but it's not, you know, as good as a 1911 trigger, but it's still shootable. It shoots really well, and I love the high power. And then I've also got the FN HPDA, or it's sometimes called the BDA9, same gun, but this is basically a double action, single action high power that FN developed in the 80s and 90s, and it was originally meant to compete in the US XM9 trials, and I think they pulled it out of the trials halfway through. It never completed the trials, but the Armed Forces of Finland did adopt this pistol as their standard issue handgun, and as far as I know, they still use it. It honestly doesn't feel a whole lot like a high power from, you know, a shooting standpoint. It does have that natural pointability, but the trigger and the ergonomics are different, but it's a nice shooter. Once you kind of adapt to the trigger and the feel of the grip, it shoots really, really well. And since I've gotten used to it, I shoot it about as well as my high power, and it's a really nice feeling gun overall, really nice shooting gun, and it just looks cool. I love the look of it. It feels very well made. It's just a really nice pistol. So moving on to the Smith & Wessons. We've got the 3914. This is the same gun as the 3913, except this is black, 3913 is silver, and this is the single stack 8-round compact that Smith & Wesson offered in the 90s. Really nice gun. I have had a 3913 as well. They're good, solid guns. They conceal very well. They're very thin. They're reliable. They're accurate enough, I think. And this one was kind of beat up, and I got it for like $300, and it is, for that price, it's a really nice gun for that price, for any price really. It's just a good, solid, really quintessential double action, single action carry gun. And I think a lot of people miss this gun because there aren't really good double action, single action compact carry guns these days. Next, we've got the 6904, which is pretty much the same gun as the 3914, except it's got a double stack mag. And I really like the 6900 series Smith & Wessons. You obviously get more capacity, but I think the wider grip, for me, it kind of gives me better stability, and I tend to shoot the 6900 series guns a little better than the 3900 series guns. But you know, of all the guns I have in this safe, I've had this the longest. I picked this up on January 1st, 2016. So this one is close to my heart. It even saved my dog's life one day. It broke up a dog fight. So I love this gun, and I will always hang on to this gun. Next, we've got the 5906, and I have a review on this. It was the second review I ever did, so the quality is kind of meh, but the content's good. And it's titled "In Steel We Trust," because this thing is hefty and glorious, and it's just wonderful. You know, these guns are solid, very soft shooting. I find them to be accurate enough and reliable, and they're just classic. And there's just something about a big chunk of stainless that I think we just like. And I really like the 5906. And then we've got the 4506-1. And I love the 4506-1. It's one of my favorite 45s. Probably a close second to my my P245 Sig, but just big and sexy. And I've got a full review on this. It's called Walk Softly and Carry a Big Smith, because this is a big Smith, and you just feel like a badass with this thing in your hand. And it handles the recoil of a 45 really, really well. Good trigger, and just a classic from the 90s. And then I've got my Daewoo DP51, and I have a full review on this. It's called the K-pop remix. I can't even remember. I'll put the name of the review in the on the screen. But it's a lot like the Smith & Wesson guns in terms of its build and everything. But it's got this unique trigger system. But you know, I like the Smith & Wesson guns, and I like this. And in some ways, it feels a little bit more refined than the Smith & Wesson 3rd gens, and it's got this unique trigger system that just makes it really cool. And I really like this gun. It shoots really, really well. It's accurate. It's been reliable. It's a good size. So yeah, grab one of the Daewoo guns. They're not super expensive. You can find them. There are usually some floating around on Gunbroker all the time. So I definitely recommend picking one up. They're cool. Next, we'll go into the Rugers. I've got my Ruger P89, and this is one of those impulse buys. It was a good price, and I was just, I'll grab that. And I was blown away by how excellent this pistol is. I think these guns are kind of unfairly, you know, just relegated to this budget gun space, and they are so much more than that. I mean, in terms of shootability, I don't see a big difference between this and like the Beretta 92 and the Sig P226, and it was designed for the U.S. military service pistol trials back in the 80s. So it's designed to those standards of quality and reliability and accuracy, and it certainly lives up to those standards for accuracy, quality, and reliability. It's a great shooting gun. It's really reliable. It's durable, and at any price, it would be worth owning. But for the price they're asking for these things, I mean, I got this for like $350 or something like that, and it's basically brand new. I can't think of a better gun for the money. I mean, they're just really excellent guns. They shoot really accurately. They have a good feel. They're reliable. They're solid. And I have a full review on this called For What It Isn't, because it isn't a compromise. And I love the P89, and I think really highly of the Ruger P-Series pistols. And then I've got, somewhere in here, I've got a Ruger LCP. And this was actually, my wife's dad had it, and he gave it to her. He's like, hey, you should have a little gun to carry around, and it's purple, and it's cute. And I don't think she's ever shot it, but I took it to the range, put a few mags through it, shot okay. It kind of sucks to shoot, but it works. And in this size niche, it you know, it does a good job for what it is. So CZs, the P10C. I just did a review on this, and it's becoming one of my most popular reviews. And I really think highly of the P10, and you know, in a lot of ways, it's very Glock-like, and I don't think CZ made any illusions as to what they were trying to do with the P10 platform in terms of competing with Glock. And it offers a Glock-like experience, but everything about it, in my opinion, is just a bit more refined, a bit more dialed up. It's a really nice shooting gun. The ergonomics are excellent. The trigger's really good, and I think, not to say a Glock is bad per se, but I think the P10 platform just improves on the Glock concept in just about every way. Check out the review on this. It's called When Good Enough Isn't. And then we've got the P01, CZ P01. This is one of my newer acquisitions, and you know, I've had a few range trips with it. It shoots really, really well, and I've had a lot of the CZ compacts lately. I've had the P10, I've had the P07, I had a PCR for a while, and this is pretty much the same gun as the PCR. It's basically the PCR lacks the accessory rail, but in my opinion, the PCR and the P01 are the most intuitive of all the compacts in terms of how they shoot. And strangely though, I think they have the most recoil. I think the recoil impulse is a little sharper with these, but you get more feel, you get more feedback, you get more context, and I think if you're a shooter, these are the ones that really kind of speak to you. I will say I think the P07 has the lightest recoil impulse, the most mild-mannered of all of them, but I find myself kind of liking the P01 and the PCR the best. So looking forward to getting more rounds through this, and I will definitely do a full review on this one. And we've got the Archon Type-B, and I have a full review on this called Off the Charts, because there's really no way to objectively express how awesome this gun is. It shoots so freaking well, and you know, it's got this, its claim to fame is this super low bore axis and this barrel. It doesn't tilt, it comes straight back, and that definitely informs how the gun shoots. It has a very linear feel to the recoil impulse, sits low in the hand. You can shoot this gun so fast, and it just feels so direct, and you feel so connected to the shots that you're taking, and it's very accurate. It is a very accurate gun, and I think if you're a shooter, you will definitely appreciate this gun. It's really a fantastic shooter. And finally, we've got, this is probably my most obscure pistol. This is the IMI, Israeli Military Industries SP-21 Barak, and apparently Barak means lightning in Hebrew. But this was Israel's attempt to kind of standardize on a pistol platform. From what I've read, there's not much out there about this gun, but it is CZ derived. It is like based on the CZ Tanfoglio platform, even though it doesn't really look like it. It is, but I think what they try to do is make like a multi-caliber platform that they could use throughout their armed forces and police forces. And this one's in 45, and it's a big frickin' gun. Like the barrel is fairly short. It's like a 4-inch barrel, but you know, it's got a full-size grip, and I think it's basically a polymer frame CZ97, and it takes the 45 Tanfoglio mags. It would probably run on CZ97 mags as well, and it's it has these parallel recoil springs that makes it kind of unique, and it shoots really well. I haven't shot it a ton. I've had it to the range a couple times. It's been reliable. It's been pretty accurate, and it's a cool gun. So eventually I'll get around to doing a review on this. And last but not least, my single long gun that I own. This is Springfield Hellion, and I traded my AR for this, plus a little cash, and I really like this thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with my AR. I just wanted to explore some different platforms, and I was bullpup curious, as James Reeves might say, and I'd shot an X95, Tavor, and I liked that. I kind of wanted to get one of those, but this came up, and I jumped on it, and I really like the gun. It's slightly bigger and bigger feeling than the Tavor, and the Tavor has the long stroke piston. This has a short stroke piston, so it's kind of in the middle between a direct impingement and a long stroke in terms of the recoil impulse. I would say it doesn't move around quite as much as a long stroke piston, and it's not quite as terse and percussive as a direct impingement. It's kind of in the middle, and it feels just right to me. If you haven't tried a bullpup, I love the rearward weight distribution. It handles differently. The rifle handles differently. It handles, it feels like you control the gun more with your body, and I kind of like that. And it shoots well. I have enjoyed shooting it so far, and I will get some more rounds through it, and I'll do a full review on it at some point. So that is the gun collection, which, I mean, I don't necessarily consider myself a collector per se, but I guess that's what you call an inventory of guns that you own. You call it a collection. So there it is. Like I said, stay tuned for the Sig P210 review. I will be putting that up probably, I don't know, in a week or two. And then I will probably do the CZ-P01 after that. In any case, I will link the guns that I have full reviews for in the description, and then, like I said, I've got YouTube shorts for all the above here. So any gun you're interested in, just Google it, or put it in YouTube search with Hipster Tactical, and my shorts will come up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Matt with Hipster Tactical, and I will catch you later.